Then and Now platform. And bring on a warm greetings from the United Kingdom. Very, very special program. Today, the 28th of March, 2021. On the Then and Now platform, me, now a host and presenter, Prince Emil Chroma. And once more, massive welcome. And I get a special one for Una today in the house before we go to the real item. When I know some time ago, we know they announced one with brother they can host a show on the platform, and a very special show because this goes to the heart of the matter. This goes to the core of we country, we the people, waiting we stand for. Usa we team up apart from we sonko. There are other things them we really define we. And I make you very happy for getting this brother way they can host a show on this platform here. And without much ado, because I just need introduction, the brother will do the talking for himself before going to the main item. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm really proud and really pleased for introduce brother Melvin Metziga. Melvin, are you there, sir?
Yes, thank you very much, Prince. Thank you.
Good one. So, like I mean, say Fambulem, a very special program with this brother again for can begin host on the platform. If you see the background, you can see the picture of the brother and the first guest. We instead will talk about a guest for himself because it's too heavy for I introduce the guest when the man get forget. But brother Melvin, you get this show when they come on the Then and Now platform. With family and on the look up to for a while. I remember I said we'll be doing the arrangement, and unfortunately tragedy struck. And I use this public platform, for once more. I've been doing then for once more extend my sincere condolences in behalf of this platform at the loss of your dad.
Yes.
May the late man in soul continue for rest in peace. I know how much that means to you. So on that basis, we'll be here for postpone the show. At least the man been there in morning. But life goes on, and the brother is back. So I want you use the opportunity today for tell family and waiting actually they come from you and when you begin for host this program. Waiting family for look up to.
Well, first of all, Prince, I thank you for bringing me on your show. I've been watching your show for a while now, and my show is the Melvin Metziga show. It was due to commence on sometime in December, but because I lost my dad, so we had to put the brakes on and just get the mourning period and the funeral out of the way, and then before I get myself back together and then prepare to restart the show. So this is where we're at now at the commencement of the show on the 31st, which is Wednesday. And we first guest could be Mr. Collins Pratt, BEM, who's also received, he got honored by the Queen. He's got a medal from the Queen for his services.
I know you hear that, Melvin. Sorry for badging. You call some letter them. You call some letter them, and you call the Queen. What in a letter then they mean, and whose Queen way they talk about? You are making clear for family member.
Okay, the Queen of England. You can give out OB and services to the community. You can give out BAM. BAM is British Empire member. That's another award where the Queen can give out. Now I give out to this we brother who will be the first person on our maiden show on the 31st of March at 8 o'clock UK time.
Okay. So family, una don't get a little taster of waiting they come. And tonight the man entitled and not a small man. And Mr. Self waiting on there are so proud and I can't wait for watch that particular program the way they come. A man honored by none other than the Queen of England.
Yes.
Good day on the Then and Now platform, hosted on the Melvin Metziga show by Melvin Metziga himself. There's a lot coming. If una can see the flyer, I'm not sure so una they see the bottom, but we go get for raise them a bit and we'll go talk about and subsequently before that day they reach, we're not really they far again. So Melvin, of course, you don't describe give a synopsis of your guest. So we don't say the guest heavy, not a small man. But the show where they come to want and show no more, where Collins come, Mr. Pratt come, and that's the end of it. No, there is much more to come. So what do you intend for do exactly or for add value to this platform in terms of this show where they can host? What do you motivate you? How the motivation come out for can't do what you want, can't do so for the Then and Now platform, the audience, the general audience, and for yourself?
Well, your platform is one of the main platforms of live broadcasting at the moment, and it's a pleasure for me to be on this platform. I know it took us a while, but finally got there. It's a pleasure for me to be on this platform, and that's why I decided that it should be the platform where I should have my show on.
Okay, Melvin, thank you again once more. Thank you so much, my brother. So, Fambulem, would they expect fashion? Would they expect when I say real show business? Now that would they expect? I mean, something that we haven't seen on this platform before, I must admit, because we are so at the struggle, you know, yeah, how for kind of put them, but more politically inclined, if you will like, all the social injustices them. Now in week they try for outline. Now somebody they know where they can do the social side or the social aspect of things for water down, you know, and give people them hope that at least despite the difficulties, you know, to politics they can't talk that make it clear. And this is what makes me excited because the platform itself a border on the injustices, the way they happen, political problems them in the country, which we are proud of, by the way. But thank God, thank you, somebody else, they can bring another element to the platform where we really, they kind of look up to. So, Melvin, you want to touch again on how much time you get for spend, like whether a 1 hour or 2 hour program you get for the Give Ambulem, whether the program get for be regular on a particular date and time with them for look up to that time day?
Well, the show is going to be on your platform, the Then and Now Media, like we said, and it's going to run for an hour. And within that hour, we'll be interviewing exciting. We come from a diverse culture. We're a diverse bunch of people, us Sierra Leoneans. So everybody in their own right is doing something positive to better themselves and to better their community. So I'm going to be interviewing these people, teachers, lawyers, musicians like Colin Spratt himself, people from various walks of life. And the time for the show will be 8 o'clock every Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, 8 o'clock UK, 3 o'clock Eastern, that's America, East Coast. And then in Sierra Leone, you can catch us at 7 o'clock. What will happen, it will be on your platform every Wednesdays at 8 o'clock.
So Fambulem, the word that, again, I'm not able to contain my excitement when I hear from the man himself. Not only Mr. Pratt, obviously, and they talk about professionals from all walks of life. We teachers, doctors, lawyers, which even make the conversation tonight very interesting, which is yet to come. And these are the kind of people that Mr. Meziga get for the talk to. And these are very professional people, so there is some professional angle. And even the next question what we want to ask her, we want left him because he almost don't seem to address him. But Antifambule, when I know say Then and Now platform is diverse. When I say diverse, it's made up of different nationals, or we get viewership from different nationals. So the issue of talking to professional people, where there is a common agenda between professional people, like if you talk to a doctor, although it will pertain to something where local or domestic to Sierra Leone, but doctor generally, now I think the way resonate across the globe. So would they get them kind of thing? And also, Melvin?
Yes, sir, exactly. So also we got relationships, we got media, we got musicians, we got food, and sports as well. And during this show, we'll be giving birthday shout outs. So if you know, say Paddy getting birthday that week, text us. The numbers will be on the screen, the WhatsApp numbers, send us a text, and then we'll give a birthday shout outs to your friends, your family, or colleagues.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. So Fambule again, once more, just for re-echo that, I mean, this is a different kind of jazz, you know, that's coming to the Then and Now, you know, yeah, for can spice up things. You know, they say the more, the merrier. And this is what it's going to look like. So if you get your birthday things, they go on, just send a message to Mr. Melvin Meziga, or you can send them to me. We go to advertise the numbers and the website and the email address. And then, of course, we can put them up and let the whole world see that Madam X, Mr. Y, getting birthday, and it's being celebrated, it's being appreciated by people. This is really, really going to be wonderful. And like I say, If I am excited, I'm sure, yeah, people are excited because Sierra Leoneans, we are known for having taste. And if we can get somebody to get taste, I mean, this is just going to be a kind of a wonderful project. I want to remind Family and also say we do adverts on the platform now. We not a charge as per now because we pilot the program. And we expect, say, people can go patronize we run for 2 months, which is in April and May. It's going to be completely free because it's a kind of pilot program we run. But if you get your video of your shop, your business, your entity, whatever, and you want advertise them, you want to give them far reach, then you can talk to we, send a video clip, 1 minute, 2 minutes, even up to 3 minutes. We go play them for you in the segments, then we will get us with a break. We can use them for advertise. So they look forward, and also I don't talk with few community people and we get shops and etc. And they are willing to do this, but we just want to let family know say this is what we're going to be doing. And it's not only on my program, it's going to be happening on programs across the then and now. Melvin, you get any last word for family?
Well, I urge everybody for come on board and watch just not my show, but log on to the Then and Now media and get a diverse views on what's going on. Different aspects. We're going to be dealing with different aspects. I've got my own, you've got your own, and I'm sure that people are coming on board with their shows as well. So we're looking for the support and from the community, the wider Sierra Leonean community, overseas, back home in Freetown or Sierra Leone, America, anywhere. Please join us.
Wow, Melvin. Famulon, I hear the word. This is really, it's really personal.
Yeah.
A direct appeal from the man we get for come within program, just this short advert, it's like, please join us. It's a kind of event going forward. It's about us. Without you, there won't be an us. So we ask una join we in this venture for go forward and put the country not the map. Okay? So una royal for Melvin Meziga, he will be here, I promise una, and una royal for himself. This Wednesday where they come, the 31st, and at the last day of March, 8 p.m., with a very, very special guest, Mr. Collins Pratt, a man where the Queen of England don't decorate, don't give him an award. So not too small man, una can't see for una self. Don't be told. Melvin, many thanks, my brother.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to working with you. I wish you all be success, boss. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother. I really do appreciate you. God bless you and your family. Many thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, family. Of course, we don't hear, and just like Melvin say, boku other program we get for Canada then and now. We get forget the famous cash box. Get for can begin holding program now. I think that get for happen every Thursday. But we'll bring cash box himself for can explain to una the program, and we'll soon release the name of the program, just like how we release the Melvin Metzger show. So Cashbox will be coming. We get another brother now, Jamni Timberlake, T-Beats, is into the fashion and music business and other kind of stuff then. So there's a lot of SARS and RAS and MAS where they come now this particular platform. I want to keep tuned, yeah? Many, many thanks. So anyway, family, thank you for listening. You always pay for listening. Dear Alebe, we shape this broadcast far and wide. Still they wait for me guest then. Mr. Ahmed Nasrallah, the Sierra Leone President Association of Journalists, the president for the journalists then, Nasalone, supposed for grace this program here tonight. Still they wait for not turn up yet. I hope the time changing all kind of mix things. We also expect Mr. Harun Zubairu. Harun Zubairu supposed for there on the program, and as soon as I can see the title, the proposed cybercrime bill with none other but the president of the Association of Journalists in Sierra Leone, Mr. Ahmed Sahid Nasrallah, and Mr. Harun Olu Zubairu of Theory Media Critique. Would expect them all two, although we deal with them one by one because one is supposed to come before the other. And we talk about a very, very important subject. So family and you are big when allow shape this thing here. We can't afford for be 2080 number on a serious national conversation such as the proposed crime bill. It's the responsibility of every one of us, at least for invite family, families and friends. Let them themselves come witness and hear. If anybody get phone call, we don't want to make to the platform for contribute while we wait for the people. It's not a problem at all. But big things are coming to the den now, and I want now not just say just now. The Melvin Meziga show will be here. Okay. Anyway, we want to talk about the cybercrime bill. And Harun, if you watch, I don't know why Sahid not send an invite yet. I don't know. Let me just check the line quickly and see whether they're online. Then maybe we'll go get for bring you come in, because I'm sure you will have been, or you are ready by now. I'm sure you are ready by now. Let's see. Ahmed Sahid last thing today. 2107. The man was online at 9 o'clock when the program was. It was good when proposals are made. Before they are made, especially serious proposals such as a proposed cybercrime bill. Yeah, Mr. Nasala? Hello? Yes, sir. Are you waiting for? Yeah, it don't start. It don't start 11 minutes ago. Okay, no worries, sir. Thank you, man. Thank you. Okay. I think so now all your reading conversation. So Mr. Nasrallah, they come on, they try for join. Very busy man. So I get for tell and thank you anyway. So Fambu them there on a lot shape this live video. The other people can join, yeah. Mr. Nasrallah, they come. So they host Mr. Nasrallah for about 25-30 minutes and allow him for go because very busy. And then we go come on to Mr. Zubairu. Then we can hear Mr. Zubairu in one point. But what we want to talk about now the proposed cybercrime bill. We really want to talk about them because it's important that we talk about them. It's important that we understand these things there about our country. Don't be an observer. You got to be proactive. Now that's what I mean. Not just sit down on the talk. Your voice has to be heard. I'm sure say we all want change. And they talk about good change. That's what we want. And if we want good change, we get to speak to the government and tell them what our feelings are. That is very key. If you don't talk, government need to understand. If you go grumble in a corner, government need to understand. You have to speak up. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Speak up. We know say some people like can come and say one or two things that were not nice. So people that when they speak up against somebody, then they support. But that should not make you panic. That should not make you shy, because if you believe, say you stand on a pillar of truth, if you believe in what you're saying, it's almost kind of righteous. I say almost kind of righteous because righteous is such a powerful and strong word that you therefore be careful when you use them. But at least there's some kind of a conviction that you believe what you do, then it's obvious that you get for try and do something where you go encourage people and we go do the talking as well and help you for that we all have the national conversation we try for promote. Okay? We try for promote. So there are many things ongoing. Many things ongoing. We are just a small entity or a small part of it, but collectively we can make the case going forward. Collectively, we can make the case going forward. If others can join, like we say, the more the merrier. So Fambulan today we want to talk about the proposed cybercrime bill with the president of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, Mr. Ahmed Sahid Nasrallah. Also on the program tonight will be Mr. Harun Zubairu. Earlier on, we get Mr. Metzger, where they can host a show on the Den and Now platform, a heavy show. In first guest, I'm wowed, and I'm sure you are. This man has been decorated by the Queen of England. The Queen of England has decorated the first guest on the Melvin Metzger show. The Melvin Metzger show is diverse, is wide, it's representative of almost every culture. You get to talk about food, you get to talk about relationship, you get to talk to entertainers, you get to talk to professional people, entertainers, stand-up comedians, lawyers, accountants, and you name it. They all will be here. So the conversation is widening. Don't be left behind, okay? Anyway, while we wait for Mr. Nasrallah for join, Mr. Zubairu will join we in about 15 minutes time. So Mr. Nasrallah will get a very short time. But now just brief questions we want to ask him because it's kind of relevant for like come and talk. Cybercrime bill, where the government they try for introduce, me don't look into RAM, not extensively or exhaustively, but I just know say from waiting me don't see that there are many, many ambiguities. You see, sometimes the way you talk then can't talk there. Those that support without question can feel say you just want for criticize. But if you they criticize or the critique way they offer, it's on a solid basis, like I've been talk on the basis of truth just now. You they ask others for equally look at them before they begin for fire back at you. So then law, they are not a small law. Remember the draconian law, which was, I think, introduced in Sierra Leone 1961, where the government repealed and replaced them, although not in its entirety, but according to what we understand, the most draconian of it all, replaced them with something called the IMC. That one that they in place, the ink not dry it, then they want for introduce a cyber crime bill. And like I talk, say the ambiguity then boku, and I've been on talking before yesterday, I've been in another program. I think I attended 3 programs yesterday. 3 programs, yes, I was on 3 programs yesterday. And I expressed the same views than they. And even today, I don't learn more because the Minister of Information, Honorable Raman Swari, was on the air. So he said a lot of the things which I said yesterday, and he said them today, because they are facts, they are written, they are down there. And when these people are challenged, to be honest, they will come clean. And that's I see today. And they take ownership. And I'm happy about that. Because what that does is it shows some degree of accountability. It shows some degree of responsibility. It shows some degree of respect for the values of human rights. Because when you talk about bill of this kind, you talk about people them way then get for question or the human rights will either be rolled back, curtailed, or seized altogether. This is why people worry. This is why people like express hesitation, apprehension, not for go along with things of this kind. So definitely here is where we are. Let's show some understanding for government as well, okay? What we know is that during this particular period, never before in the history of man has information technology, they grow so rapidly. Information technology, they grow so rapidly, never before. And here is the thing. If they grow rapidly, which means that in a matter of nanoseconds, depending on the speed of the gadget way you use, the message will have been disseminated to hundreds, if not thousands, in fact, if not millions, depending on who the wider audience will you target, or who that they then domain then they, or of which interest that particular news the way you're saying is off to the people generally where they on the web. So it's a good thing and it's dangerous as well. Like every other thing, the advantages and disadvantages are there. Okay? They are there. So what you know can happen now, this information technology as a whole, we as the people them, the users, the end users them of the technology they are, don't find a smooth way where we can integrate other things them. In other words, like what they do so. Use the technology for broadcast to hundreds of people, subsequently thousands go listen later, because there are many programs ongoing, depending on the nature of your platform or your program. Now, so you go able for conduct guest them on your side. So this they happen all of the time. Sometimes, depending on Udana you guest, depending on the nature of your broadcast, the number can flip-flop. Lately, we don't try for regulate the number, but at the same time, it's still a flip-flop. But yes, what they do so, now the technology we available now are the use. I don't integrate other things them into RAM. Not only one, they talk about generally. We the motorman them, we able for address issues them, which is of tremendous value to society as a whole. Now, if you just imagine this way, I just said just now, then kind of a thing like a government, because we therefore understand sometimes how government they operate. Some things then they not secret. So government can want to keep some things in a secret. You know, me say illegal, no mean say illegal, but there's some circumstances that can prevail where they can want to keep some things in secret. And this may happen a lot of times before. Now that's how they say, because of information technology don't become available at the tip of a finger then, it is therefore becoming difficult for government for control the narrative. Before then, a government having almost every say over the kind of thing there. Now then they pass regulatory laws, oversight committee them for look into what people and they say. And even before waiting people and they say, because it be limited, let me say radio stations or television stations, and you get for go register, and I make them put all the law and they get for go register, because when you go register, you get for register your activity, then what you intend for do. But until you know intend for use them in a bad way, because government will define, say, because you criticize them, so that's bad. But for other things, then we go undermine government seriously, like acts of terrorism. So once you promise that you wouldn't do that, then obviously government, they try for show some democratic principles of openness, rule of law. So then will allow you, then will give you license as long as you conduct yourself within the guidelines we then give you. But like I say, because information technology don't become so much rampant, wide, and at the tip of a finger them, government can no longer control the narrative. Within the remit of social media, that third party, in other words, they go between we and government is no longer there when some of them press people in. Because the press is such an honorable profession. But over this period of time, the world over, there are things that are being compromised. So when social media come into place now, and they practice a completely different trend of journalism, which is not conventional, which is not orthodox. And that they cause problems for governments all over the world, be it in the Western world or be it in the part of the world where we come from in Africa. And now you need to imagine this, that if this is the case, therefore government will get interest for want to curtail the use of social media, find all kind of ways for impose laws so that you go curtail that freedom of expression. And this is not the thing. So it's difficult for let them meander the way around them because it go look draconian, because what you want to do, it go look like say now people and the way our people and they talk and waiting people and they talk, now you they try for curtail. And once you they curtail that, which means that you are becoming repressive and you they curtail press freedom, then you begin for look bad. So then waiting, then you can try for do now for go through the law and pretend, okay, Mr. Nastrala is joining us, and pretend via the law. I'm not saying that our government is doing that, but if you look at the data, the statistics we are available, there have been governments around the globe who's used all the means there for suppress other means of expressing your views as a free people. So ladies and gentlemen, anyway, it's just a quick one, and I thank you all very much for staying put. We thank God Mr. Nasrallah don't arrive on the program. Mr. Nasrallah, I know say you are a very, very busy man, so I will be very quick. We are 24 minutes into the program, and I just want to go straight to the point, but use the opportunity for welcome you. It's been a while, but you look well, and it's good to see you, sir. Welcome to the program once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I tell you very much. I just come out from Kenema. I just arrived in town and the rush for camp. I mean, if you say the program at 9 o'clock, it starts.
Yes, that's correct, sir. What thing happened is that has been the suspect later because we own time shift yesterday today.
Okay.
So we don't go 1 hour ahead, which means that we don't left una be. Yes, not my fault. It just occurred to me while in a studio because I know you are a man of time. Even if you run late, you 1, 2, 3 say I don't host you, you go call me and say, oh, I didn't go or this, that.
Yes.
So now that's kind of my mind. So apologies, it's my fault.
No problem, boss. No problem. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Nasala, just for go straight to the point, sir. This talk about a proposed cybercrime law or bill, whichever way you want to call it, because it's not been passed yet. It's a proposed bill. Waiting now you feel or take about waiting at the feel of the people. Well, I say the people, not generally the entire populace, but you are in control of a professional set of people will look most likely to be affected by this law. Do you give Fambulem an idea of how we now understand this proposed bill, please?
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy for this program, and we feeling about this bill. We don't make them very known clear to the public because we put out a press release immediately when we get the news. Say Parliament don't ask the Minister of Information for go back and do some further sanitization on the bill for 2 weeks. Then when we meet with the minister, we tell and say we're very disappointed, and we express disappointment that we are not part of the initial discussions for drafting the bill, and we are a very integral part or sector when it comes to the kind of law there, and we're supposed to do it. And I remember say when we are repealing the criminal libel law, this bill was being drafted, and the minister speak of them 1 or 2 times during the eternity, and our agreement in principle was that after the repeal, we'll come to this bill and we'll discuss them. We use the same strategy we use for consult, for engage, and make sure say we understand the provisions of the bill, and make sure we give one valid inputs before it comes to Parliament. But we're so disappointed that it goes to Parliament now without we don't know. So the lesson we will take from this is the fact that next time we're not going to wait till and call we. Definitely, we're supposed to don't follow. But the excuse why I say this now will be 50th anniversary, and we'll be so engrossed in the activities or put them together and begin implement them that we not even notice the minister don't hold consultations on this bill with other sectors then, the ISPs and other people. He left we out. We own the media, especially the sludge, the right to access information commission, and even the IMC and the right commission, where they under the ministry, even come with them into the discussion. So we feel disappointed and we express them. So what we learn from now, like I say, that next time we're not going to wait till and call we go out and make sure say we be proactive and follow and make sure say we make valid input to the thing there. So that was the first one. We are disappointed that we are not part of the initial discussions of drafting the bill because we believe say we own sector get so many valid input there for make to this bill here. Going beyond that now we don't meet to the minister. We don't make it clear say we're disappointed, and we don't write officially to Parliament for ask them, right, to the Speaker of Parliament. We don't copy all the leaders of the various parties them for ask for an extension of the time frame where they give. Say that 2 weeks they give enough. One may they extend them so that we get ample time, enough time for engage, discuss, and consult on this bill so that we say we will make our valid inputs. And what we will do as large, we immediately get the bill, the soft copy of the bill. I said I go na Article 19 with our international partners them. I said I go na International Federation of Journalists, IFJ, and also we share with lawyers them, we in-house lawyers them, and even lawyers that were outside of we own sector, and ask them for the technical and legal opinion, better advice because this is not a highly technical document. We as media people will read them, but we not lawyer them. We not get the understanding. We not go read the line on the surface of it and we understand how we understand them. We got our own understanding of them, but you need an expert in the law, an expert in human rights, to come and explain to we page by page, provision by provisions, and law we see what we understand from them. And we make it clear to the minister say we not opposed to any law who they can bring sanity in the cyberspace, because the minister make it clear because he give a presentation, he say if I will give you an intention of the drafters and the motive of the drafters, say this is not a law will come for secure the cyberspace, protect the cyberspace from abuse, and for also make sure say we use the cyberspace responsibly. We say we're not opposed to that, but what we're concerned about as media people, now we don't want any in the process of doing so, we don't want they infringe on any freedom of speech and freedom of the press, and also people's privacy rights. That's our concern. So now we make sure say we come inside and say we go come for can give valid inputs. Let the parliament give more time. And tomorrow, as I talk to you tomorrow, we get a workshop with the media reform coordination, the media reform coordinating group, and the Right to Access Information Commission, and the Independent Media Commission. And we also make sure say we leaders there from the north, east, and south, and all the affiliate bodies them, the leadership, we convert tomorrow in a sludge hall, and we get 2 layers them who will get inside sludge, who they can do presentation, and we also get 2 layers them from outside sludge, who they can give presentation, and we also get the Minister of Information who don't invite, let's can give the presentation. And at the end of the day, we understand we take them page by page, and we come up with our own position statement. So that's where we are in terms of the bill.
Yeah, Mr. Nasrallah, many thanks for that. I think that explains a lot. Although I want push on just a little bit. Mr. Zubaru, welcome to the program. And I just want to push on a little bit, sir. The fact that the people that go on for go draft some proposed bill, where una as journalists, they're at the very center of it at a very critical time, as at this time, where from the understanding, the people who will be affected most will be you and the people in where you stand for, and you were not consulted. Does that expose some sort of error? I don't want to call them irresponsible acts, but some sort of an error in the system. That
was a grave omission, and we're happy that during the engagement with the ministry, the officials them accept that say that was an omission, and because then they can say the media, this media, not for media people them, but we disagree with them. We say no, this has everything to do with the media, because as media people them, as journalists them, we involve in investigation every day. We cross-check information, we use the internet, we use the laptop, we use the computers them, we use go beyond the normal team for investigate and come up with stories them. And we're liable for come in conflict with this lawyer. So we are very, very much involved in this one. So we make it clear to them, and they accept. They accept that was an omission, and they apologize on behalf of the ministry. So we take them forward now. We say, okay, that's that love on that part now, because as it stands now, the ministry not get nothing for doing this bill again. The only institution will get the authority for change any part of this bill in Parliament. And we use the relationship we get from the repeal of the libel law for contact the parliamentarians and back and tell them say, hey, we are concerned about this bill, and we do an official letter. We tell them say, please, we kindly ask you now as we representatives, we for listen to we extend this time here, because that's what like so not do enough. We add for this time here. Now we engage more. Now we serve the media people understand the bill before we will sensitize the public. Because if we don't understand now, we cannot sensitize the public. Because even the lawyers they disagree on the provisions of the bill. Every lawyer gets a new interpretation of what's in this bill there about. So we don't win the media people there. We just read them on the surface of it. We don't understand the legal language within inside. You see? So that's what our concern. Yes, we can say that was a great omission on the part of the ministry, and we're glad that the ministry accepts openly, say that was an omission, and now we're moving forward. And I think say the only authority the only people who got authority right now for change anything about that bill in a parliament, and I do the focus now. And we don't make calls them, we don't begin lobby, and as a follow-up to the letter we'll send, and we don't give some signs and some signals from parliament say then we extend the time. And now we work fast now for make sure say we contribute to this bill here, make sure say infringe on freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and any person in privacy rights. That's how we concern our focus with the
Okay, Mr. Nasrallah, the way you address the two questions they want to pose to you, it seems like you don't cover. Of course, there are many things for cover, but the way you answer them, it seems like you've covered almost everything, in the sense that some things them are left out, but they will be dealt with later in terms of don't get lawyer. I'll ask you one or two questions before you go quickly.
No problem.
Obviously, you don't express some apprehension as to how they go about them. That is one, and you make them clearly known that you're not happy with that. But luckily, when I don't go through some weeks, them and they look like say yes, they don't listen to una. But the fact that they left una out without consultation itself was not something back we you don't address. But we don't get a view of this proposed bill, and without going into too much, which I'm sure you will have seen, and you definitely do have many disagreements. The point I want to make is like there are many ambiguities then inside this particular proposed bill. Will you agree with that, Mr. Nasrallah?
Yes, definitely. Even from the layman's perspective, even from your perspective, when I read that, first of all, the first issue I get with the bill and the title of the bill, Cybercrime Bill. You know, this law wouldn't make for address, for focus, or for targeted crime. So I'm not comfortable with the title, cybercrime. If you don't say cyber law or cyber security law, that yes, it's not the crime. That's one. Then number two, at least the minister will address that because we're going to go through we see there's a provision there where it gives so many powers, immense, overwhelming powers to the Minister of Finance for come up with penalties in the event of breaches. And when we go to the minister and express with satisfaction and express with concern, they can clearly say, okay, this section here, already registered to Parliament say there is no way he want let this section this section of the draft bill by the bill, and you don't tell them say you don't want no minister get that power and you don't want no institution for that matter to get that power. So we respect that. Although we find out say definitely if it was a bill. Before you take them to Parliament, you would already them, and if you don't know, say this party, no, okay, no, we pull and go na Parliament. But you make it very clearly say on record whilst they do presentation, because you go on for GUI and a clear idea of the intention of a motive of the drafters, and that process, so we can clearly that one or two. And the issue of also making the computer and the laptop or the phone as a crime scene, and then give a caution say a judge, you forget an authority from the judge for let the police go come take the evidence there. And considering the fact that with judiciary the way it is, you see with the lack of trust in the decision they're not independent, so you're not going to rely on any kind of provision indeed. So now make we say company say, okay, so the thing there we need for take them step by step. Like I tell you, say we don't understand the bill in totality, we can't even understand the language. Yeah. But on the surface of it, the way you read them as a person who's speaking English, and when you read them from the surface of it, you get to see the kind of thing there, and you go ask, so why this for me so? You know what I mean? Yeah. And we consider institutions they're not independent. The executive gets so much power, and there is a way they can handle them there. Any small thing, small loophole they can use them for silent somebody who a critic, or somebody who get a voice who always they try to raise issues them in a way because making feel offended and go out for silence and kind of thing. So we don't let any loophole or any small space for them to take advantage of that one. So that are some of these small things. But we also have to look at the good aspect of them in terms of the protection of the infrastructure of the cyberspace. That's a key thing I go for look into. And as we stand right now, we infrastructure, the cyber infrastructure we're gonna saloon. It is up Leicester Peak. It is up Leicester Peak. Leicester Peak that will get all the antennas there, the servers there, of all the radio stations, of all the ISPs, and all the mobile phones, and NATCOM, telecoms, I did it all day. And that place there, right now as I speak, it open to everybody. You know, got one security. Now the people they go every weekend to go enjoy themselves. Whether they go there to go drink, whether they go there with human, I think they get time. And you know, one security. You just take somebody who just go crazy one day and go up there and spoil that place there. And we come to shut down for some while. And that will bring out chaos. So those are some of the key things that we would look at, the good things that we would say, okay, we know they're against the law, but we want for law we do one in a way that the process open and free and transparent. The law make sure say at the end of the day, we all own them, so that we make sure say now what we want for this bill here and the day before they pass into law. And I believe say the parliamentarians said they said no, and no allow that they for happen.
Now, thank you again, Mr. Nasrallah. I'll ask you one final question and let you go. And I want to say thank you just before I let you go. Mm-hmm. You obviously don't express, your language kind of strong, really very strong. Mm-hmm. Your expression of how much against waiting then they try for propose, waiting the drafters then do, and who else will they attempt for push this process go through. But now we understand it, say, you get a workshop, with your constituents them and sludge as a whole, where good discuss earlier on, you say when I don't get lawyer, 2 lawyers representative. My final question to you, Mr. Nasala, in terms of what you know and what you express, so when you go to the negotiating table, what you willing for take and not take out of this? Because like you say again, normally government very strong, the executive get too many powers, too much power, and most times they can get away with things the way they want to get away with. On this occasion, waiting we don't see so, and let we be thankful to the minister, because like I said, I watched the minister come out, he accept, he take responsibility, say definitely they not do the due diligence. And I think he apologized generally to the public and said they're going to look into them. But how much they're going to look into them is yet to come. And you, when you go now for go represent some section, a huge stakeholder of the society, how much of this una willing for take on and waiting una no one see day. In other words, you don't need to go through all of that. How prepared are you for waiting you don't want and waiting you want?
PK, let me tell you, what we don't fight for the past 55 years, we don't achieve in the repeal of the criminal libel law. We not go let one go easily, definitely. That repeal of the criminal libel law, that space that we don't go, that civic space we don't go, for when we get that, then we need them for all public officials to account, for expose corruption, and for let everybody get the right to express itself freely without fear or favor or without any hindrance. That's basically we get for guard them and we get for make sure say we expand them. And make today in collaboration with civil society. We don't allow anybody for interfere with that space. If they get for interfere with them, they for interfere them for let them increase them, let the space wider and get wider and wider because we need them. In order for democracy grow, that space we need them. In order for we get a free society where everybody will feel free and the media country will be free, we need that space. But we don't go accept any other law who they can limit her. And it ain't in the interest of the government. I hope they go understand that one day. It ain't in the interest of the government that we didn't do so in 2020. That achievement will do so. If they mistake with by this lawyer, definitely they go in vain and people will forget about that. We said that the media will forget about that. We're not going to acknowledge them. So we do everything possible for protect that space day. And not to say we're going to negotiate. We're going to go at the table. We go get a position. We go to Parliament. Parliament are our representatives. And we go for tell them that this we want. And I believe they said they need to make the law for themselves. They make it for the public. And because they get for command Parliament. The minister get for command Parliament. The government get for the Parliament na power forever. They get for commodity. Other people get for candy. And we don't have to make law like how they do the 1965 Public Order Act, who would then pass them for certain people. Then at the end of the day, other government they can use them to their advantage and begin suppressing people. We don't want that kind of situation again. We are moving. We don't pass 21st century step. Now we're moving ahead. And then things there, the space for free, the kind of freedom we don't get for express yourself, if we continue to be free. And all we need for do now education, to control social media from the onset, from even from APC and saying, the Minister of Information, my bank, they begin to talk about it, we tell her the face say, SLAG is opposed to any legislation where they can control social media. Social media is a free space for everybody. If person abuse them, when they call them, then all we need for do now for embark on continued public education so that the public without the position for say, we know they entertain this kind of news here, we know they share this news here, this is what is true, and we go to cross-check and get the correct information. That's all we need. We don't need law for cancel without. But in terms of abuse of the space, we're not opposed to that one. But this law, according to voting, I don't gather back again, we are signatories, Salon is a signatory to various conventions, the Malabo Convention, the Commonwealth Convention on the cyber security, because cyber crimes are a transnational crime. Not just for Salon. People in America, they commit crime there through the cyberspace. As long as it's weak, people go in Liberia, because the system is weak now, they commit crime there. So it is essential for law to protect that space day and local legislator for protect that space day. But in doing so, we have to be careful, we have to be sure say we not infringe on the space where we don't get the freedom of expression space and the freedom of the press space and the civic space, they not infringe by them. And people in privacy right because you have to deal with data. When you got somebody in phone, you get information that they want in private data. Go and hear somebody, they talk, you know, the police don't get that right thing for kind of interfere, and we just know because of the law. No, we're not allowed that one day. Everybody gets in privacy. So then they will go for keeper. And sometimes the confusion also where we don't get a cyber unit that the police, the Sierra Leone police, so we don't operate on any kind of mode there without any law. You understand? So you want now say how the police, the cyber unit and the police go fit into this lawyer. We, you know, I mean, what they don't do so because I remember say Salty, that journalist will be exposed, will be try to interview the chief minister on that allegation. And somebody going to say they're only phone there, they're all on three phone there. And the police, and by holding a phone there, if you phone not get password, the police get access to the phone there. If you don't watch all the messages there, what they call them, without any authority. You see, without any law would they give that power. So how would they come and harmonize all the things there into this lawyer? So then I think they will go for discuss tomorrow. And I mean, we say we get the in-house lawyers then, and we get independent lawyers that with the out of slash, who they say they can't help people do and followers they'll get. And we'll collate what we get from Article 19, what's the advisory, put them together, then we'll send them to the ministry, then we'll send them to Parliament, and say this is our input. And we'll go, they follow when they get to hearing, but we'll go and lobby and sit on they say no. This is in the interest of the country, it's in the interest of the government itself, and it's in the interest of the whole country. Follow we continue, follow we democracy continue for the growth, because the fundamental space for democracy now freedom, and then fundamental freedoms there, right to speech, right of the media, and right people's privacy rights. So definitely not to give and take. We're going to go back in. We go for protective space. That space we will get to. We can never let them freely. We can do anything we want to do. We will go at any length for protector. Even if Parliament not agree, we will make our voice heard. We will talk and talk and talk until the reversal. Definitely, I'll show you that.
Wow, Mr. Nasrallah. I'm sure after the nation will have listened to this, not many people will disagree with you, except those who are not in love with the country and in love with the president of SLAJ. I want to say thank you very much for taking off the busy time, run from Kenema and straight on, come on the set for can talk to the Sierra Leonean people. I believe, say, going forward, that's actions of yours will be recognized because it is in the interest of the state. Thank you so much, my brother, and you look after yourself.
Zubaru, how are you, pal?
Yeah, thank you very much.
How are you, sir?
Fine.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Fambulem, that was obviously the voice of the president of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, Mr. Ahmed Sahid Nasrallah. Now, him in the talk, and we hear it in voice very strongly. But we get with other guests, we don't they wait patiently, and of course, he's no stranger. He's a fierce media critic. He's a man in the know, and when he open his mouth for talk, you know, say, a eye for detail, the attention for detail, it diverse, and not only boil down to the one thing we can talk about. Now, it make a very important way he can appear on the platform, and he's none other than Mr. Harun Olu Zubairu. Mr. Zubairu, welcome to the program once again. You look well.
Thank you so much. I kind of exhausted. I mean, I come up almost 2 o'clock last night, and I'll get prepared with the show and get ready for the next day. So thank you for having me, sir. God bless you.
No worries at all. We'll make a nice, short and sweet, because yes, of course, that's something you do proudly and selflessly for nation. Obviously, we know the subject matter, Mr. Harun, and yes, we know the atmosphere. We understand the atmosphere. We have just heard from the SLAJ president, a major stakeholder within this entire argument, and you know it, you before we move deeply into that, give me your idea, a synopsis, your own synopsis, okay, of what you understand about this cybercrime law. Proposed bill, please.
Thank you very much. You know, the one question I get, in fact, that the name of this proposed bill, the cybercrime bill, which in all broad and what we need for do about cyber security, cyber law, and how it affects the government, the business entities, them, and also the people where the ordinary people that can hear you, where they are the social media, and also the interactive people in Sierra Leone, and also Sierra Leonean them. So this bill not broad enough. So what it do is only the crime, and it just frame them on certain issues there. So for some reason, this bill is really questionable, just like how Mr. Nasrallah just said, They not ask more questions them, but also they not make the people and the public know exactly what their intentions and why they do them at this time and for what reasons. So that's why it make we question this bill, sir.
Good one, Mr. Zubairu. Exactly. So if you create that kind of atmosphere, like exactly what you will see, and it's not a looking glass, this is just reality. Stakeholders were not consulted. The people were not consulted. Sensitization process wasn't carried out. It will almost look like a witch hunting sort of thing in which there is an agenda. Would that be a fair statement for Mick?
Yeah, to an extent, sir, it is. But also we get for understand, say, within the internet world. I mean, what that means, sir? Almost now 7 billion people them now then they do interactions through the internet and the social media included, and also with business system. So on that way, it's inevitable again for come to down our country, even though we did 30 years behind. Now people get for be for address, and we find out same because we did behind, we know they do things them, and they're open for like with questions waiting and they do. But again, the emphasis them is based on how they can contain and suppress expressions. Now that's what you're in, and which a majority of the repressive governments them, now that's what they do for suppress and stop people the way they express themselves through the social media and other mediums them where they accosted. So there's a possibility that this is a witch hunt. But let me talk about this, yeah? This internet thing, this interaction, this cyber world where we live so today. Just last year, now $1.5 trillion transactions now happened between the cyber world. So we know how it'll go, but we see how the evolution of Bitcoin don't come to the world, how it don't come, money transaction don't come be a way whereby we don't need a middleman. We only need the money from your account. So if somebody within our village that's alone, are capable for transact money there. This is what's in the world get for be. That middleman like a Western Union and then place and day or a bank, in order to become again altogether for be a transaction within this medium, this internet medium. Now then we get for put with it. But the question would be, why is it that this government, including Rado Soare, put some laws then we go stifle freedom of speech? So the question would be, within we as ordinary citizens them, we want to take part, we want to get for effect. How do we go and stop them? That's the question we get for ask.
William stuff. Mr. Zubairu. So you talk about cybercrime and we think in warrant or we think constitute cybercrime. So let me say, cybercrime, again, variants, there are different degrees of cybercrime, different things that can happen all under cybercrime. Few of them where you talk about, which can be like phishing, like fraud, credit card fraud, like pornography, like stalking, like blackmailing, like smearing. The reason why I they outline all of this is I want to let you give listener them a JPEG, if you will like, of waiting of the things there will fall under cybercrime applicable to a country. If you know where they try for go, because yes, we try for introduce a cybercrime, and some things then possibly are not applicable to a country, or they not warrant that degree of criminal activity for step up to that mark. They say we want to curtail some rights then for people, but some are actually applicable. So which direction you think, I think you get the gist of the question you think, say, the government is going with this?
Thank you. You know, I appreciate your question and your intellect, sir. You really know what you talk about. And not only you can get a very good opinion, but your questioning are really valid, sir. So let me talk about some of the cyber crime that we did, right? We get malware. When they attack, system them, operating system them, software them. That's not malware. When they go through you, they invade through your system them, and then shut down your government information and take information from you. That's the one of them. So identity theft, meaning they go take your information where you as an individual, right? You as an individual, we get passport for banking information. information, you begin that information, you like information, and things that we do through the social media or the internet, they give what you and then they go cash money that you name, or use the name for what you money. So that's like another one way my identity is there, right? And also, so what I'm also about the violation of privacy. Let me talk about this. Privacy in another thing where we find out, say, it can go to an extent just the way Mr. Nasrallah just said just now. It's say people and personal information can get on their phone where a police officer can go and take. For example, now they can come and take somebody like me, they can take my phone, what's in my phone? Some pictures and did it where I want a private pictures and did it. Not only that, me post the one I don't buy, me business the one they do, me transaction that's what they do, me bank statements them, all of them, they're inside that information. As we know how careless these people are, as we know how these people they don't corrupt that country, there's a potential, there's a tendency, there's a chance they will take with money now we earn. We know that. So the question is, what's inside alone, what's with the benefits, or what's not affect we when it comes to cybercrime? Sir, there's nothing shows that Sierra Leone don't get encounter any cybercrime that we continue. Why? Because we don't get the technology there. We don't get fast internet system. That's number one. Number two, we don't get people who go secure, we data them, and also we security them. Number three, we continue at a point where we get a nuclear weapon when somebody will come into a detonator through the internet system. So the government not gets that time. So the question they ask, why this law at this time? Mr. Swire, if they go ahead and tell me, say, now the international world say we need to implement them. What would they implement them for? Why? Why would you get for implement at this time? Even though we know, say, that this is the age where we live now, we go ask ourselves the questions. Are they doing excessive sex trafficking in our country? No. We don't see any of that. We don't see on the news, then in newspaper, and not the government. We don't see they're not they do sex trafficking a day. We don't see that they sell weapons them through the internet. That's number two. We don't see any violation. We don't see the government talk say people and they violate people their privacy. So we don't understand whose side this president and the administration are bent on how they will contain people based on this law. So there's nothing for answer your questions, sir. There's no basis for this particular law when it comes to confiscation of we devise them, we devise them at this time. That's not my answer, sir.
So make I propose a theory. That'll be a little bit theoretical, Mr. Arun, because yes, if we do some intelligence studies, you don't bump out certain things that we're not applicable. But let's remember, say it's broad. And broad in the sense that it involves electronic data where they transact between X and Y. People and they use their cell phones, we contain information where they talk to journalists them and media hosts them, such as me and you.
Yes, sir.
Other journalists them called whistleblowers, they're able for pull outs to read them, and in so doing, and they use the internet for either hack into systems or use other people them on the ground for provide such information. The reason why I say let's play this game is potentially after you don't knock out few of them things and they come out there, which you are quite right about. In other words, where is the data for sex trafficking? Where is the data for pornography? Where is the data for stalking? All of them things there are on money laundering. It could be happening, but we'll not get the data. So if we not get the data, then why you try to introduce something where you people are not aware of, which makes the entire exercise fishy. But since you don't bump out all of those come out, and I want to introduce others where possibly can they happen within the realm as we speak now, which is journalists are exposing issues that has never before been exposed. And this now make government day on the back foot. Could this be potentially one of the reasons where government they try for use for legitimize some issues them via cybercrime so that they go able to pick up on people and criminalize them? We're not going to probably affect me and you directly, but we sources them, people that we talk to or where they help with information, because then they can summon their data, they can summon their laptops, they can summon all other electronic equipment then. Would you think that's the direction we make governments they do this particular proposed crime bill when they're not able to talk to people themselves?
Yes, if I understand the question, the way at which they go for get information when somebody commits crime, I think so that's the question they ask. But there is a law where, again, Mr. Nasrallah said talk about same. The law said if you want to go get information or evidence from somebody, you could go through the court system. You go through the judge. The judge could tell you, say, okay, here is what's in the happening. So we don't see there's so many crimes, potential crimes, or there's a possibility crime not occur. So let me get this information. How you did one? Now let we go and get the law for agree, the judge for agree. Say, okay, you know what? Let me go ahead and get that and then device it from you, or let me get some evidence for you. So what do they say? The government gets a law already done there in the book say. For let you ever forget information, the judge can tell me, if you understand what I say. The judge can tell me, say, listen, Mr. John Stevens, there's a potential of crime. We need the evidence from you. We can go ahead and get that information there. But at this juncture, what do we think say we don't happen now? The president and this man, Mr. Swari, they don't come now, they don't put another law which supersede the existing law. So now they can just go and just and confiscate anybody in device for their own purpose. For example, look what they do to Sylvia Blyden. Up to today, from when they take that woman there in 491, take today and not get them. That law already there. So I don't know what to make this law now apply to we based on cyber.
Well, Mr. Zubaru, just for pushback on that little bit, there is a difference between waiting exist, and I think say Mr. Nasrallah touched on that little bit, when at this IMC, or the repeal where they repeal and waiting and replace them with a cyber law or cyber crime where they want for introduce. So under this cyber crime law, which is cyber crime does represent, is a threat to national security, state security through hacking, XYZ. But it also falls under blackmailing. So if you don't do a law, where under that law then caveats and they underrun, which means that you can easily throw the dragnet at somebody on them basis then they for say this amounts to blackmailing or are suspecting that you they give information because it's now legitimate. But if they under cyber law, we don't have cyber law, and I make a proposal now so that they will use this for get hold of journalists them, material them, and not only journalists, doctors, everybody where they hold information, a more relevant to information data. I think that's the key word there because that's what they want to get in the information. So if I've been to talk to Zubairu using Orange Network cell for call me, that information is all there. So when I go see them, I'm able to see all your contacts, I'm able to see the conversation, and that will lead me to X, Y, Z, and extension, and there are no limitations. This is dangerous, Mr. Zubaru, isn't it?
It is very dangerous, and I thank you when you make and we put it that way this up. You're so right. So now, for example, let's say Salih Jallow asked the chief minister about money when they launder through him, right? And now they go to Salih Jallow, then get informed system. What do they want to do? They want to know who that.
Absolutely.
They Salih Jallow that information there. So then they seize a phone. Remember this, then seize the phone, then get who that Salih Jallow, so that going for arrest that person there will leak that information there. That's exactly. Then it's time to find out who that people that they communicate with, whether against the government or whether they oppose the government. That's exactly what they do in this particular case. Because when we think about cyber law, sir, there's a lot of vulnerability when it comes to Sierra Leone. We're vulnerable, bruh. And not only that, we protect the government and the data them, but other enterprises, commercial enterprises them, also school institutions them, also people them within the country, individuals them, that for protect all of them. What do we see? If just like Mr. Nasrallah say, the physical building them, then they people that go around all the place then. Let me talk about the enterprise networks them. For example, let's say you get a business, and we don't get big business today, we get the enterprise here. So let me say this don't make no sense. We don't get business them where they use the internet to an extent when they need protection. We don't get no big local area network one what they call wide area network now we can't see, or even proxy servers them we need to be protected. So we don't know why make them come with this law at this time and try to impose them. The only thing when they come in when they look Nayasu now, sir, we have three things they're able to identify Nayasu. One, they don't cancel the seditious libel law, not number one, where they affect them. Number two, Channel Bar come out and talk about them. And number three, people like me and you able to express themselves now the social media. So this is the reason why then they come up with this law at this time and the way when they present it in Parliament and to the public. Now that me feel.
So yeah, that exactly what I've been try for tap into your mindset, because I've been one we come outside of the box where people like you want kind of box we in, and let we jump outside of that set and just be as usual, be very, very critical. So hence we don't knock off blackmail. We at least we don't say we get that. All the other things, then there is no data for show the people that say this is the reason why. But under the same cyber law, we don't say you can criminalize a journalist. You can flimsily just accuse and go to a judge, and probably you do have that judge under your orders or command for issue a warrant where you can then go to Zubaru in OS and then take Zubaru into computer, because now that you see there, then whilst you remove the keyboard, you see a paper and note with a number, when a different number, probably one of your sources. Then they also get right for go look to that source, they call that number there and also go read that number. So I want to talk about this, the loose threads of this particular proposed bill, Harun. Let me talk about and small. There's a section there, I think 4 subsection 2. We talk about the evidence when they get the evidence. Like I just talk about this, no can seize your computer or seize you material them. When they don't seize and done, they can go, when they can go. The board are not there on them for prove something. Are you back the turn around for can prove waiting they not already seize, waiting in at the end. So where does the citizen stand in this? Waiting at you view Usai Fambulent him up if this should happen. Because again, I listen to the minister, I'll just give you heads up. When they do this to you, you can be one poor journalist, we not get couple. For go now the court system, through the system. So they ask the minister, and they'll say, maybe they na Makeni or inside one village na Makeni. I think the minister say all inside and they now they get magistrates then they, so you don't necessarily need for condom, and not to Supreme Court you get for go. So magistrates they can deal with their case then they, and you also entitled to some legal aid. What are your view about that?
Yeah, when it comes to the ordinary citizen, the poor citizen, them we not able for defend them when it comes to a lawyer and somebody for defend them at the court of law. It's troubling, bruh. It's really troubling when now we get journalists that when they actually reach $120 a month or less. And then, these kind of things can happen. But not just remind people, right? We get freedom of expression. We get the reason why we get this existence for let's say the press or somebody like me would express self na the internet. Now because of somebody like Edmund Burke, right? Edmund Burke at the time where they give one speech when I be a British politician. And they talk about the 3 branches of government, when the legislation, the judiciary, and also the executive. But then it come now, it say we can forget the 4th estate. When the journalist, right? The journalist then they for come and tell the truth to the people. But at the same time, freedom of speech, you can lie by the government. You get the right for lie by the government. But what does that mean? The government don't get the right for come and arrest you and put you in a jail because you express yourself. This not already signed at the book. But what do they see? The government upon government, repressive governments, then they come and then arrest people or suppress people and threaten people in case like somebody like Sylvia Blyden, number 1, and Saliu Jallo, number 2, and Mahmoud Timkabo, number 3. We say somebody in physical features are not good or they were war. They take a look at a job for 1 month. You know, so did that. You see somebody like Mahmoud Tinkago, he's not able for get himself out of jail. He get for beg and beg them before they remove him from jail. This is the problem that will be the gets that we continue. This is the problem we will get under this law. If they solidify this law and election they come, people are not going able to express themselves. People are not going able to defend themselves. Obviously, we not get lawyer them. We go stand and civil society them. We go stand for them people here. So when it comes to trouble, so that make it the same. We get for fight this case before it gets to that point where we get for fight and where the law already did. Because it not protects the people, it not protect the rights of the people, it not protect speech, it not protect the freedom of expression. So this is the problem with the encounter now, sir.
Brilliantly said, and this is the exact direction, you know, like where they try for encourage in terms of proper critical thinking. So we are looking ahead that potentially there are events that will go unfold. Events that will go unfold. One, you just name elections coming. And we look at atmosphere that can be created, you know, for take ownership of the situation in the, that now by government, but they're able for legitimize the situation, such as what they are doing, potentially could be doing with a cyber proposal. But here's the thing, Harun. There are no structures like proper infrastructure for cater to investigations of the kind they are within they try for propose in the bill. For example, we see a veteran police officer gonna see their binding in us, take the portrait of the former president Ernest Bai Koroma and try for introduce them as some kind of prosecuting evidence against Dr. Sylvia Blinden. Are these the kind of people that we can trust in case, you know, a bill of this nature pass? Are there any apprehensions on your part that such people will be in charge and legitimately they act in behalf of the government and the people?
Yeah, so, you know, I appreciate you, sir. You are just a smart human being. I'm telling you, sometimes you make us think, why? So let me see if we get all the infrastructure in place when it comes to cyber security or obtaining cyber, for identify cyber law. What do we need when it comes to that? We need, number one, we need a software engineer. We know exactly what our software they work and able for contain or fight any kind of intruder. Now we system them, right? That's number one. We can forget a technological impossible. We're able to transfer data them from a particular server to another and to a proxy server, should in case somebody physically destroyed that one day because it won't get enough evidence. We can forget somebody we're able to do it physically, right? We can able to do somebody where they do research on see whose side their information, their people they can intrude into a system them. Who said that they go, you ever forget somebody will able to do that? You ever for monitor traffic within the medium system and the internet, right? What they protect your own country. So we can forget again, software developer them, when they create software that will protect me. But also the physical machine needs to be protected. Do we have all anything in there? And I can tell you, sir, America today, just last year, how much they spend when it comes to cyber security? They spent almost $18 billion.
And why? We don't say that cyber security, but waiting up in the threat where they spend such a fabulous money.
And because of people like Russia were intrude into a system them for elections, that not, but also privacy rights, and also I forget what you call them, where you create your own rights for create software there, whether the way I'm not able to understand how that for talk right now, but we'll come to that, right? But we also
like the malware we talk about earlier on Trojan horse.
No, sir. For protect you rights where you create, let's say you create an application where everyone tell me say I didn't have a remote location that's a load copyright. Copyright.
Yes. Data copyright, yeah.
Exactly. And not only that, sir, America increased just last year about $1 billion. That's how they protect them. Let me tell you what happened back in the 90s. Probably you remember this. Then we get on email over the go around. When somebody actually sent information to everybody, email, and said, I love you. as people are opening up, guess what? It shut down all major companies across the country. I don't know if you remember that. So you can able to protect your country. America say we life is based on this war with effects, this cyber war with effects across the world, and not only America it affects, but affects everybody in the world. So we know. So now, Sierra Leone down there at this particular group of countries there. But what do we have enough money for protect ourselves? Do we get the people that were able to the technical know-how? We get people that were able to do that? No. But also, let me say a police officer can seize your phone. How do we know that this police officer not going to take your information and go do something to her? How we don't know how we gonna know if this police officer will take some data them, some things that were inappropriate about you, and can go all across the world or share across the world. Like when we are waiting for the mail. See, you see how information is transferred, how would they denigrate and also promote negative things about people in the world? Do we have that in the country?
So I will come to the mayor shortly. I get a question on the mayor, but the reason why I ask you why on America, now for let you establish the fact that why America they spend that kind of money, is justifiable. The data is available. That's why they go on for spend. They hack Sony, the Universal Studio. They hack the Defense Department. The North Koreans are a threat. Cybercrime, now the latest crime in the world. The Chinese, they try for hacking to, and the Russians. So they all play them, so it's necessary for spend money. And at the point that there be one for you raise, which you did, quite well for justify why they spend billions of dollars just for secure the network, for secure the country. So we not get the sort of threats that they, but let's be generous. The idea that we've moved into a new century, the 21st century, and still moving, despite we being small and the threats might not be imminent, but definitely they will come because we all look for move into the now. And if they move into the now, definitely you get for they do bank transactions, when they do an now but on a lower scale, and when they get threats from others. So there might be a necessity. Let me make the case for government little bit for introduce a proposed cyber bill, where they're supposed to pass for protect the country, because the reason why they can pass cyber law and for protect the country, do you have another thoughts about this? The reason why they pass cyber law, cybercrime law, now for protect the country.
I get it. And again, Mr. Prince, that's why I say you always ask good question. There is a reason that it makes sense for let we get a cyber law. Now we talk about cryptocurrency. Whether or not we believe cryptocurrency, they don't become a normal thing, almost to become a normal thing that we world now. Where right now, if I want to send money to you, if I don't have Bitcoin, I can send money directly to you without any middleman. If I want to create a business alone, I want to transact money there, I can use Bitcoin and or the cryptocurrency and send money across this medium where we get. So if the criminal the able can and they come inside with the system and shut them down, it prevents me for transact information and business together. It stops the economy and also the progress of life. Because I can tell you today, like I tell you before, now 7.9 million people they interact on the internet and also the social media. So we do need that, but we need security. Are we equipped for that, Sierra Leone? No. But Sierra Leone need a cyber security, a cyber law, and all that thing and they for let we able to function in this 21st century. But I can tell you today, we did 30 years back, and due to the fact that Madam Bio in the administration not able to see clearly who side of put their interest rather than they try to suppress freedom of speech and also restrict people not for talk rather than help the people and promote the country. Somebody want me campaign. One young lady, it's him up and talk. He said, most politicians and they're myopic. And I can tell you today, sir, yes, Madam Building, they're really myopic. They are short-sighted people. They only think about winning election, make money, and then suppress freedom of speech so they can what if more. That's all they do. But yes, the cybersecurity is really necessary at this juncture, sir.
So I know say this not to be as planned at the conversation, but a kind of relevant. The mayor of Freetown, her worship, Yvonne Akisoya, is trending in the social media circles, apparently for a voice message will leak out in which she was allegedly on tape saying issues which are very compromising, that are not really good for the ace. I don't know what you view, because a social media commentator and you're very vast with them kind of things there. Give me your view about what you think about this entire episode, if you will, please.
Thank you very much. So this is the question when they ask themselves. If you listen to the entire context of what the Mami they say, the Uma they say, they only they say that then when they bring people for employ certain people and based on whose side they come out. But he used not a very good expression by calling them Boabise and Kaikai. So because he used them and they yes, it not be appropriate the way I will say, we all get stuck, we all throughout in this world. Yes, it not be right the way how he put them. But what they say? We get for do them based on the merit. But what they are able to see about Mother Biome and the administration, what they are able to know about Mother Biome and the administration, they have this personal vendetta against Creole woman them. They hate Creole woman them. They dislike Creole woman them. They don't like Creole. Let me take Sylvia Blyden. How many women they don't jail and disgrace so in the eyes of the public? Let anybody tell me. Then do this to Sylvia Blyden, then lock them up because of freedom of expression. And they say they want to get seditious libel law, but based on that law, they lock this Creole woman. You come to Akisoya. They beat Akisoya in that country there twice by the SFPP people them, Marabio and the administration not said down. You get Mr. Tondone. Mr. Tondone not only say you know nothing, you know what nothing, in front of the Salon people, when 2 million people now this woman they work for, the freedom. You get this woman, when they call Laila Taylor Pierce, a very fine woman, a patriot, an independent fine person, we don't fear to all the people in the country. Three Creole woman them. How coincidence can that be? Marabio hates Creole people them.
Yeah, but Zubairu, again, you ask a very critical question, how coincidence this thing can be. So now talk about the coincidence and the Creole. I'm not like for talk about, the tribal line or special line in there. But let me talk about, let's be open. What if now, as a consequence of the action, but not as whose kind person or affiliation whose side they belong. Now the action, the way they take, go down well with the government, because sure enough, Aru, it would have been a limba there if the limba would have stood up to the SLPP government or Mr. Marabio. Definitely, he would have done the same thing like he did to Lara Pias, like he did to Sylvia Blyden, Doctor, and Akisoya, isn't it?
Now, I think about you understand. Not because if I will never person or team person, they will forget some reservation. What's the matter? Bio and administration know. Now less than 500,000 people in a asylum. They not want them. If I be full of person, they know they get the guts for doing to them, because again, after you get mandate now fuller than they get more population. When it comes to wealth, you get more full man than we get money. So they're not going to do it to them people and they not say they kill people then they afraid. They're not they vote much. They're not they put them for politics. Eventually, they will get what's that issue my name? Paul. I forget his first name. Inside a political party. Eventually, I can get after them. But yes,
Claudius.
Tommy Claudius Cole. We don't know what's going to happen to him when it comes to the election, when it's time to get closer. That's not the thing that we don't do. If not, I don't know if you don't see any other scribe when they don't do what they do to the Creole people them. I don't want to see any time when they put Timmy Woman in jail. I don't see any time when they put point finger by any Limbam woman in face. Now only Creole woman them. Now mother bill and administration get got for disrespect the way out and do so. And why? Because they're not the talk. There are no factors. And they hate them based because they feel superior. And that's not the reason. And guess what? It just like where I then at this show right now. I talk to you. But if I call kind of young killer in name right now, people will jump on you.
And that reminds me, Harun, we get for all a special program. I remember for host you and what name Bashiru. And then I will find one critique for put between una or two because when I would try for bring the house down. Because I look somebody really critical of Dr. Kande, and I know say when I know will take up, and that will be
absolutely
we Sierra Leoneans them in a positive way, they fet, they claw themselves, yeah. I go like for see that. I mean, I'm in a light-hearted way. But I ask you,
thank you.
Going back to the proposed cybercrime bill, if assuming that bill they been passed or don't pass. You think say waiting happened to Mayor Akisoya, she will have been a beneficiary of in terms of this audio we come on a do of
Well, this audio now personal, somebody personally gets the information, then it doc them, it puts it segment them, they put them together, make it look like the woman bad. In that case, we will be able to say the government get for able to protect Akisoya by suing this person we do for identify who that do. Now then it come, do we have the resource? Do we get the people that we are able to determine who that do it to do so? We're not entitled, we not get time, we not get the money. So what's that this cyber law now? Then they talk of forensic, they not get the know-how, all the money for support that kind of thing, and they keep the use them big what they are so, them big things they are when they're not able for support. So again, Mrs. Mayor Sawyer, before benefits from a law, we go protect free speech and also slandering. But now they're not getting out there, we go protect them. The only thing they want, if you say something against the government, he has to be arrested. And the government, and they want to say about Palisa, when a minister like Sware, like a me Arun Zubayu, they go say, I don't commit that kind of crime. Now, Sware will tell me how much time I will serve in jail. What's that be fine? Now, Sware, the minister of information, now for determine with faith whether I will exist or not will exist. How wrong that can be.
Yeah, I mean, you raise quite a good point, Harun, and I think say the minister himself kick against that. But the idea that it was proposed in the first place is ludicrous. It's unacceptable. But the man himself kick against that. Said no, if you want to be, because again, not just right. I mean, let our thought provoke you again for go into the minds of the drafters of this particular proposed bill. What do you think was on their mind?
What in the other mind is again, the social media, the internet don't take over the world. Then no say if they're not trying to contain the social media, they are done. They are done. Just like what's happen with Akisoya, they no say the information they flow. Now I make a gladly when the information minister is kind of the social media and talk to them because they no say now they the power them. Back in 2018, now 1.5 million people let me get phone, and only less than half of that be able to get access to Facebook and WhatsApp at that time. But now we get 3 million people, 3.5 million people, we get phone at the hand. And by the election, we don't get up to 5 million people, we could listen and hear what they say. So they get for container. So the intention is not cybersecurity. It's not for protect copyrights or for prevent sex trafficking. That's not their purpose. That's not the reason why they do this. It's not in their mind. Because we don't get problem in that today. We don't get major problem when it comes to sex trafficking, selling drugs, or exchanging weapons in another day. So the reason why they do this, now for they're able to suppress freedom of speech. That's the reason why.
So 2023 on mind, is that what you're implying?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow. Mr. Arun, I get for let you go, but I want to ask you a couple of quick short bust questions. If 2023 day on mind, you already don't say them, you don't capture them. If 2023 is on mind, proposed cyber bill yet to be passed. All of the ambiguities that we don't see inside, in other words, the rush to where the drafters to a point where the minister own up. And by the way, Fambulem, I just want for everyone to know, say, invite the Minister of Information, Honorable Mansoire. Of course, you know, respond to me, and also the first time I invite him and all the other people in we in our government. Most of them we don't invite them at this platform. Sometimes they can respond, and most times they don't. But I just want for everyone to know, say, on such an important issue of this kind, I call on the minister, if you go, please attend to the people on this platform. Unfortunately, I'm not here for me. But the minister, they appear on other platform. Them, of course, he get prerogative for appear, also want appear, but it's an obligation that if I appear, not on this platform specifically, but as a taxpaying person who appear for explain to we. So we tell and thank you for where they appear on the other side, but we'll equally like for they appear on this platform for can talk to your own people then. So Harun, here is the thing. Your good friend Chernobyl, I call him your good friend because I've seen you many a times, you know, caping for him. I think in America, when I say cape for someone, to carry water for someone, I think now the lingo that we did on the my ride or die, something like that. You know, you try to be a little bit American. Anyway, on a more serious note, this man don't produce material in which are so damaging. They are called like election material. They are make or break. And it will seem like government is really struggling. And they seem not for to get the act right because everything that is being done is disconcerted, all program, all well choreographed. And that will be because of some of the materials released by the Africanist press, and we expect more for come in early April. Okay. Whose kind of effect will you think, say, apart from what I don't say, get on the government? And how much of this cyber proposed bill get for do with potentially within the Africanist press they do to the government?
Thank you. This gets a very serious impact on the government. And we can see how they're disoriented, discombobulated, and they really don't know who's I to go with this. First, then they try to change the conversation. You see how President Kelfala come with say it investigates all the first lead them before it comes to Mrs. Madabio. They're not able to know who's I to go with this. But how we go able to make China work and the people that we communicate with them be the change in our country. Now for let we begin all be parliamentarian them accountable. Now for let we able to tell them, say, dear, una fight for the country. If we not fight for the country, we go against una. But we believe in the country. We will get this idea. We were genuine. We go and run against them people also. We go against parliament, on parliamentarian them, run against them that are constituents. If you get money, go run against them. If you want to shape your country. We know exactly, same matter building right now than disoriented. They will do anything anything possible for get rid of Chernobyl. How we will protect Chernobyl? If Chernobyl go today in Sierra Leone, we fumble them. If this law pass, they go hold Chernobyl. They go cease in phone them. They go cease in computer. And they go hold up indefinitely. They will. So right now, let we secure and let we focus on Chernobyl and tell the country and tell the world, say, this is what's going on in the country. Dr. Yom Keller don't begin talk. We ask Dr. Yom Keller to call international world. Say, no, give me money again. But remember, sir, Sierra Leone, 60% of the money we get in the country, now big will go big. 60%, 20%, now lent will go lend money. and the other 20%, that what they get from taxes. So the only way we can able for tell Madam Bioden for stop, that for stop the money, we parliamentarian.
What about with people then? Because it seemed like an option for stop the money when they help for run the government in the country. I can understand where you come up from, but then the people will be the most affected, isn't it?
You know, if there's if there's no pain, there's no gain.
Okay.
The people are already they suffer.
Right.
They're not getting nothing out of the country. Today, this man will tell we say by now we don't get 500,000 new jobs there that we country. The only people who get job now less than 30,000 people that we put to the government. Now the employment and the number it don't create. Check for paper today. That be 700 loans when they take over. Today now 4,000 loans for one cup. How the benefits? Whose difference what it make to them? We still lend money. We still get corruption. We still get traffic in our country. We still get global warming. We see that they sell timber then and they cut timber them with no reservation. You see that they violate the Constitution. What difference will it make? Dr. Yumkela, go out there and tell them, say, enough is enough. We need the country back.
Okay.
We want to develop the country.
Okay, Arun, one final thought before I let you go. And Fambulen, just a quick reminder, and for tell you again, say, I've been telling you some while ago, say, I've been getting a program where I struggle between the name. One, I get the wages of sin is death. I can say I'm publicly the wages of sin is death. We can talk about them contextually later on. Or a government of delusion. And the bottom cap is 23 broken promises of the Marabio government is coming. Wow. And I've thought about it for a while. And I think, say, I want to make you my special guest, you know, for that particular program day. But I go, yeah, oh, definitely. I will talk to you. We will plan a mutually convenient time and date because it's going to be heavy. Yeah.
You are so creative. You know, whether or not me or you don't get older, but we're thinking is so open, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's why.
I appreciate you very much. I talk and answer. Another people say you are too good. Too good. I appreciate you, sir.
That's all right. Many thanks, Harun. This is for country, brother. And here is the thing, Harun. You know, you said something last just now, which is when you mention actions to be taken because we live on borrowed money, and you sort of put percentile on the kind of money they owe, they borrow 40% na grants, 20% na lend, and then another 40%, or I believe 20%, which is generated from income revenue, local mobilization revenue. So therefore, parliamentarians, them or powerful people, and need for begin for speak out. So that is the way they come, because it seems largely, if I should take your view on it, they benefit more of the rulers who are just a handful, and then the people, they're already on the suffer. And there's an English saying, he that down fears no fall. And if you want the rain, you get for prepare for get the thunder and the lightning, not only the rain. It doesn't work that way. You know, you get for prepare for the lightning. I mean, see the lightning and you the thunder. So yes, it does make a sense. So that's the ultimate sacrifice, and if the people are serious. But here's my question, Harun. There's plenty of work that is being done on social media circles, and even within the country itself, away from social media. Me personally believe, say, there's a cultural shock. In other words, there's a paradigm shift. Business is not as usual any longer. And you mentioned some things that they try for change the narrative, then they try for deviate the conversation, but it's just not working. The momentum is on the side of the people. And if this is true, Arun, how can that momentum be maintained up to a point where the people then realize that the ultimate sacrifice for them will be to continue with this momentum and understand how to change the dynamics when the time finally arrives?
Wow. This guy, I love this guy. I'm loving this guy. This guy, you're good. When you talk, what thing comes to mind? In 1791, America gets this amendment, this constitutional, the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights say freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press. Then we will say freedom of the social media and the internet. I'm so happy when you asked this question. How we will continue with this momentum. Not only will they speak on the social media, but will they go to this country itself and go promote freedom of speech and expression and identify the problem them when Mr. Madabio and the administration and the parliament, how they affect the country adversely. Many people that don't know who that will be and go out there and talk about the things that will they affect them. But not only that, we aim for bring in context. What in Tanzania will they go through 7 years ago and what in them be today? What in Ghana will they go through 30 years ago and what in them be today? How individual them evolve through a government will assist them and promote them and create the avenue for them to thrive. We can take that momentum then by taking that to the people, give them information that's just like how you're able to identify and bring the right people in that you show. Just like how you get new people with the camera. Now this program. In fact, from full disclosure, sir, when time reach, I will begin advertise the business now this forum, now this platform, because you have captured the mind of the people. You think innovatively, and the people of Sierra Leone, they watch what you do, sir. When they see them. So be careful, take them to the people. Now, that's the only way we're going to promote and continue with this momentum.
Yes, many thanks. I've been saying that the last question, and I want to end the last question on the same cybercrime, how we start. Just before I say that, one or two quick things. Family, don't forget the Mexico show, they come on the platform this Wednesday, and in guest is heavy. In guest, now somebody will don't receive award from the Queen of England, and the guy will be on the platform with Melvin Metzger. And Melvin, they can't get this show here. We will be broadcasted consistently on a particular day of the week, which will be Wednesday of every other week, beginning the 31st of this month. The famous voice of Alfred Sankor Cashbox will also be hosting a program here, and we open to names, by the way. We want some catchy names. We know what the board I can talk about, whether not fiscal, monetary, economics, money business, financial statements. He's very good at that. So that's what he's going to be talking about anyway. So instead of get programming, I think say your program get for start Thursday, we'll give you the information. There's also another brother with the Germany, we get for can begin holding your own program on the Then and Now platform as well. And I also want to say there are 3 slots still open, and we look forward to people, innovative people and people with the for come on the platform, for can help or take the platform to another level. We get work for do, and that work they involve we all in the collective. We also they do adverts like Unayeri, the guest been they say just now they do adverts. For now they pilot this scheme for 2 months, which is free. If you get your video of your business, whatever, 1 minute, 2 minutes review, we will play it here every time when we're doing a segment. We go break, and we take a break and play them. So for 2 months, it's free, no charge at all from the Then and Now. Today, family, we earlier on we began Mr. Metzger, where we introduced, and then came the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists President, Mr. Amit Sahid Nasrallah, who can talk to me about this bill, this proposed bill, and you could feel the voice, you could feel it. That and not go down well at all. You know, normally people like can kind of caution and measure when they talk about anything there, but the way how this man talk, it goes a long way, which means that like in London, yeah, we can say they try to take the piece, you know, consult people them, and especially those who will be affected, and you just decide to go with them. Also on the program, we can't end the program now, is this media activist, a fierce media critic, I like to call him, a man where in knowledge kind of diverse, none other but Mr. Harun Oluzubairu. And the final word, Mr. Arun, you will just summarize everything no more now and give you retrospect. This cyber law, finally, of course, governments, like I say, at some point, always they get away with things. So then look on it, not stiff, I don't call it stiff opposition, but the bill itself is so broad, it's so vague, it's so ambiguous that even the self say this one will not do, or the drafter, they are not know that the drafter. We need to find out the drafters. That's elementary work. But that's like playing with the people and just take onto the people. Now, there seems to be a backlash from the general public. Why make social media very important? So they don't can go now and say the minister for go sensitize people and then you get for come back again at the big house of the people parliament. What have you thought about this? Do you think eventually it will pass? Even if they try for water and down, because from your perspective, what I gathered today, you're not keen on the bill because you don't see the necessity for that kind of building in the country. But knowing your country, you think it will pass?
You know, based on issues them where we don't see we're pressing at the country, we see majority of the time it then they pass. For example, the $25 million where they want to go refine the refurbish the oil refinery, it pass. You see the bill where they make for the refurbish of the airport, it pass. So we don't know that. But what would they say at this time? Democracy get for work in this one year so. This one is bigger than any other bill. This time we live. So just like me and you, I know you not keep doing videos like this, but after I done with you now, because we begin the campaign now, I can make my own video on what to make this a wrong, what to make a non-warrant a bill for pass, and why make we need for fight. Member of parliament them, call them by name, call them by name, send people there for talk about them, say, una not do this, una not allow this. Go to the paramount chief them, fight them, for them to not do this. Because majority of the SRPP that go sign for this. I'm glad the way Tawa, they stand against this. Not Tawa, but speak against this. This now we like. This now we country.
Yeah.
This could destroy, it will put we behind by years, tens of years behind. If they pass this law. Regardless of what you see, look what happened with Cybercrime, they pass them. They will not ever stop them. And the leader them, after they don't come, they lose, they sit on. Nothing, okay, we lose, so now continue with life. No, that's not usual. That's not going to be so now. We get for talk now the social media. Every human being where they talk now the social media need for stand up and talk. You're not going to suppress freedom of speech. Serious. The question where we will ask people today is, how many people they don't die through cyberbullying? That's Sierra Leone. How many people they don't take their life through cyberbullying? How many people their information they don't take, they go use them for other use them, where adversely affects people them? How many times we don't see them they bully people them based on cyber crimes? We don't see no reason for let this man come today and impose this law, try to shove this law through his throat, and we accept him. This should not stand. We will stand against any human being we can for suppress speech. Sometimes speech can be offensive. Speech can be unwarranted. Yes, we see Rosa Parks. He expressed his speech, say, another sit down at the back. Martin Luther King said, we are equal. Mandela said, for free with people. It was inconvenient for all the white people. It was offensive to them for that black person stand in front of them. Now that's a speech. At one point in time, somebody could, if you talk, say, woman for married, then for make love, they will remove you or kill you. At one point in time, if you say God not they exist, people and they can and kill you. At one point in time. But today, somebody will talk an opinion. One for suppress any human being for express in duly constitutional right. For express themselves. Why that can be a government is stifle or prevent you or suppress you or criminalize you because you express yourself? Now this is the question. If somebody say Jesus not of God in begin, back then, they're in trouble.
Anyway, just for add to what you say, Malcolm X say by any means necessary.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
In this fight, the same Malcolm X being finally put on good program we still remember up to this day, which is to get the field nego and you get the house nego.
Exactly.
I believe some of us are the field nego. We are not with the master. We fire catch the master, we they pray for more breeze. The house nego, they pray for the rain color out the fire because they live on the master in mess, the rest of it. We within at the Bokuna, we can always, stand up to the injustices.
Yes.
Mr. Zubairu, I want to say thank you so much. And like I say again, there's a program upcoming, and I've made up my mind that me and you are going to hold that program. And Fambu that program is titled. We get 2 titles, then I will decide shortly. The 2 titles are catchy, but not only because they're catchy, but relevant to the conversation, which is the wages of sin. And then the subtopic is the 23 broken promises of this particular government that we have in town. There's no malice, there's no love lost. We just the same fact. We still continue for extend invitation to the other side of the aisle because other people in the camp, Bashiru, Zubai, we sit on here, is NGC. Okay? I don't say people like you want to attribute the platform to one particular party. I think they are missing the point. We want to have a national conversation involving everybody. And when you come to this platform, no one is going to speak for you but yourself. If you don't want to be on the platform, like you don't like what you're hearing and etc., you can unwire yourself and leave. You're not compelled to. There's no cybercrime law on this platform which compels you say you foresee home. No, not at all. We've got freedom of expression now. And for curtail that freedom of expression day, this is what we should not accept, and I will be the speaker about this evening. We should put up every fight, every fiber of a muscle on this particular fight will not allow them. Because why? There is an action of state capture ongoing. And let's be realistic, this is exactly what's ongoing. The cyber law we'll talk about, and I'll be one way to that, just one give the guests the point of view, the way they express. But for add to that, how relevant it is. And to whom? For whom? By who? So you can only see the ruling class because they seem to be the victim in terms of the cyber crime purportedly being committed. Because why? Now then they call out. They are the ones being named in subsequent documents, whether or not the auditor generally reports. You see, and but this is an authentic government document. The Afrobarometer report, perception report, that points to the heart of government, the head of state in Os, the parliament, the house of the people, the most corrupt institutions in the country. This is not us saying it. This is not the information which is out there authoritatively. This is what the data points to. And above all, this magnificent work by the Africanist press. So please, Sierra Leoneans, let's rise up above this nonsense. Yes, there are going to be few who will always try for deviate, but they are always in the few. And they make noise. Then get something they call Gish Gallop in America to which is plenty nonsense. But they catch up because then they can't talk boku, rah, rah, rah. But by the time you unpack up, you see say nothing on the inside. And this is exactly what we are witnessing. But we've come to the end of this brilliant program. I want to say thank you to the guests. We're always available. And like he expressed them from the beginning, was very tired, but you can't say no to the people. This is not the contract we don't sign the unwritten contract for you Sierra Leoneans then. But the fight is for every one of us. So be a part, be proactive, don't relax, because the hardest part is yet to come. One last word, Arun, let's say you want to say something before I close.
The only thing I would say, thank you again for this program, and I will continue to be part of and thank you, sir. But the only thing I can say, this division don't become too apparent in our country. They not get more your people awake and talk. But this season of taking human and land them, this prevent human and go by and leave upline. This way, this efforts that they make, and this bias on the Creole people them get for stop. We all na Sierra Leonean them. Yes, me na Fulatom, Muslim Creole, but for there we they continue to do this to we fellow Sierra Leoneans them. Get for stop.
Yeah, has to stop.
Get for stop.
STOP in cap. Full stop.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's it.
Bro, The struggle continues, Arun. Yeah.
Thank you so much, okay?
Thank you so much, brother. And Fambule, Una, thank you for listening. And I want to say tata to Una and Una have a pleasant week. I left Una with this song.